Hi, everyone. I just wanted to give a quick little caveat before we get into this episode. This episode is about Taylor Swift, but it's also kind of about Taylor Swift as a metaphor and a way for Sam and I to kind of dig into certain themes we're seeing online of like, are we allowed to feel joy right now? What about women's ambition, hard work? How do we balance staying engaged and also not burning ourselves out? And I want to be really clear, there is a lot to critique about Taylor Swift. We don't go into very much of that because it's not super relevant to this episode, but I just want you to know that we have those critiques and you are absolutely allowed to feel disappointed, let down, frustrated, sad, angry about maybe some of her choices, her lack of speaking up around certain issues, especially given her tee up in Lover era to really promising us that she was going to be more outspoken. But at the same time, I also think that we have a right to love and enjoy her music, especially in times like this. So I just want to remind you that two things can be true. And if you're not interested in hearing sort of about positive things about this might not be the episode for you. And as always, that's okay. Sam and I's goal in creating this podcast is never to have something that you 100% fully agree with necessarily. Our goal is to explore these ideas and kind of we figure them out sometimes along the way. And we go back and forth even in how we feel about certain things. So I just wanted to caveat that. As always, thank you all so much for listening. This whole podcast is about nuance. It's about that there isn't a right answer. It's about helping us, remember that multiple things can be true at the same time. So we love you. We appreciate you. We just did a really great bonus episode on Substack about cringe culture if you're interested in that. And I'll talk to you on the other side. Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the Nuance Needed podcast. I'm Amanda White.
And I'm Sam Dalton. And we are here today to push Amanda's buttons.
Explain to the people.
So, okay, a while back, we did a podcast where we spoke about Taylor Swift.
Yeah, we talked about the end of the Eras tour and some of that stuff.
We got a pretty atrocious comment from someone ripping us to shreds for doing so, saying that by talking about her, we weren't focusing on meaningful things. And we've decided we don't care. Because we talk about meaningful things all day long. And we know that the bulk of you listening to this also care deeply about Taylor Swift. And if you don't, that's okay.
Yeah, this episode isn't for you, and that is totally fine. We still love you.
That's totally fine. We still love you, and next week's episode could speak to you even more. And if we don't speak to you, that's fine. But I should also preface, this episode is not just going to be about Taylor. I think we realized Taylor was going to be like interspersed in with some of the things that we're talking about. So today we're going to be talking about a blend of two topics. The first one is some of my best performing posts lately have been on this idea called messy consistency.
And you did a pep talk on it a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, I did a pep talk on it and I've gotten a lot of feedback on that. And so we figured it had earned a place in the main feed, if you will, while also talking about the concept of joy and how in these trying, impossible, horrendous times, how do we cultivate that and find a balance with involvement and awareness while taking care of ourselves? Okay. Well, for those of you that have been in a cave.
Did you know that Taylor Swift was on the New Heights podcast and she has an album coming out on October 3rd called Life of a Showgirl?
Did you know?
Breaking news. We're dropping it here.
We had a lot of thoughts about that.
I was just shocked. When it first dropped as going to be Taylor or potentially Taylor, I did believe it would be Taylor, but I figured we were going to get a Good Morning America announcement style where she would be on the podcast for 5 minutes, show her album, and then leave. I was shocked that she actually sat down and was interviewed. I was shocked by the breadth of how many different topics they talked about.
It was 2 hours.
It was 2 hours. I was shocked by how honest she was. I was shocked by the PDA between her and Travis. I mean, one of the biggest takeaways was like, girl never wanted to hide her relationship.
No.
Ever. This is what she, I think, has wanted. I think she's been smart and careful, and they didn't do this, 6 months after they were dating.
Right.
But this is clearly real, and I literally think that they're the perfect match for each other. Like, she is very unserious. She's very silly. She's someone who is so like campy and just like
she's a nerd.
Yes.
She's a big nerd.
She needs someone who thinks that's like amazing. And every other person she's dated is like a brooding serious artist who makes her feel like because she makes pop music, she's not good enough. And I think it is perfect that also he is in a totally different industry, but they have a lot of things in common. I think based on what I know about him and what I can say, that he is like super genuine of just caring about people, what people think, and also super down to earth. Like everything I've heard about, especially, I mean, Kylie and Jason, it's very clear how down to earth they are. And I think he's that way too. And I think that's what Taylor needs also. She needs someone who's outgoing. Like, it's just watching that, I'm just like, oh my God, you have been dating the absolute opposite people that you should be dating.
Absolutely. What I found so endearing about the two of them, among other things, was how like complimentary they were of each other, very naturally too. Like it didn't. When I started the podcast, I was like, this is going to be really fascinating to see them in this dynamic. And I was like, I think it's going to tell us a lot. And it was the most easy, calm, relaxed dynamic. And I just felt really happy for her. And I get it. I don't know this person. She doesn't know me. I understand that piece to it.
Yes.
However, she is somebody that I admire. She is somebody that her artistry has helped me in my life in a lot of ways, and I'm very appreciative of that. And I like seeing someone who seems to be a very good person get some really solid happiness after a lot of years of struggle.
Yes.
And
we didn't even it is just it's called the tortured poets. Like, girl has been tortured
and
since Lover. Like, I think they had a lot of, I'm sure people will be mad at me that I'm like dissecting their relationship that I don't know and I'm aware. Right. But I just think that it's such a fascinating psychological like area to think about, in terms of, I think Joe was always so anti who she was. And I guess I really relate too, because I have a similar dynamic, I feel like, with my husband, where he is very like, he loves like the insanity of me a bit, and like is very grounding to me. And we do have such like a healthy, beautiful relationship where he is just like, you're crazy and you work really hard and you do these things that I would never do, but like, I'm sort of in awe of you. And I'm just so sad that like Taylor Swift didn't get that until now, but thank God she did, because her mind is fascinating and she is such a hard worker. And I think you can look at it as, my God, nothing will ever be enough for her. But I also think that it was fascinating to hear about how she was like, I just love creating art. And I've always wanted to be as independent about it as possible. And obviously we know, girl wants to be extremely successful. She cares about breaking records, all of that. But I also think that it was just really cool to hear about how much joy she gets out of it and how much creative control she wants. And I could be wrong, it could be fake, but it does genuinely sound like she just keeps making art right now because she genuinely loves it, not because she is like desperate to keep proving that she is relevant.
I love that you brought that up about how she makes music, because I think so many people are convinced that she does it solely for the money.
Yes. And we're not saying she's not a capitalist. Like, I can get into some critiques about.
She is our capitalist queen.
Yes.
And that is very obvious.
Yes.
When every time there's like 48 different vinyl versions and the cassettes and the CDs and the merch stuff, like obviously.
Yes. And it's too much. I wish that she did less.
Same. I completely agree. When I saw that there were like 4 more vinyls, I was like, come on. Like, just.
Yeah. I mean, thank God, hopefully, knock on wood, she follows through with not doing more. Like, it really annoys me when she does the bonus tracks on the different ones agree. And not telling you. It feels icky.
Yeah. No, I totally agree. What I respect, and I post about this to my stories, I think her work ethic is unhinged. Mm-hmm. And I will go like 10 toes down with anyone on that. Because what do you mean? She was on that level of a tour where she, at the beginning of the podcast, she spoke about like the physical pain that she was in.
Yep.
And then you're telling me she was flying to Sweden?
Yep.
To record an album and put together the concept and sort through that and be like using your voice on her days off while singing. Like,
it is pretty insane.
It's
to
insane.
Think about that she recorded 2 albums, one of which was like 30 songs long.
30 songs. Any artist that you like, anybody that you look up to, there is room for critique. There is room to say like, oh, you could have done this better. You could have done that different. Fine. She is someone that I am truly in awe of with the effort, the output, the commitment to excellence that is truly breathtaking. Mm-hmm. And you cannot like her music. That's fine. Like, you cannot be interested in her vibe or her music or her style, whatever. You cannot tell me she is not a friggin' workhorse.
Yeah.
Like, I will fight you on that. And I think the only 2 in the industry that are putting up that type of work are her and Beyonce, hands down. When you look at the entirety of their projects, their artistry, their vision, nobody can hold a candle to them. And that's why I am part of the Teonce hive.
Yeah.
I have equal love for both of them. However, the other thing that like really spoke to me, and I'm interested in your thoughts on this moment in the podcast, was when she got so emotional over her masters. That, like, I don't think we've ever seen her get like that before in an interview or.
I think the closest is like, the Miss Americana documentary.
Which even then was like a removed.
Scripted. Well, not scripted. Sorry.
Not
scripted.
It was edited.
Very edited.
It was, she knew the camera, like, it was after the fact.
Yeah.
I think to see her get that emotional in that moment and to see Travis get emotional with her, that was just like a really powerful moment to me. And I think for her to have put on the entire Eras tour with the goal of making enough money to buy this outright, regardless, $360 million exited her account into somebody else's account. And I just think that is such an incredible achievement. Whether you hate her or you love her, as she said, most artists don't have that priority.
Yeah.
Like Justin Bieber sold his entire catalog and he was completely fine with it.
I think Katy Perry just did too.
Katy Perry did. Like, it's normal. It's their asset. It's your asset and you get to decide what you want to do with it. And I really appreciated that she like tied that in and said like, I get that this is not everybody's like cup of tea. But then she also brought up an incredibly powerful point where she said, but people need to know that this is happening so that they can know if that's their priority.
Yeah.
And I had like a deep level of respect for that.
Absolutely. I wonder if she is satisfied. Like, it is such an interesting psychological question to me of, when she was describing all the baking and stuff, I'm like, girl, you can't sit. I don't know. I think it's such an interesting time too, because we are in this era of sort of, we had the boss babe women's movement, and we're moving into this, women trad life, soft girl movement. And it's obviously, we've talked about it on the podcast. We've talked about the links, the issues. And I think I go back and forth on it. Yeah, I just think it's so interesting how much we celebrated women being successful, being ambitious, and how we've kind of moved into, there's been a lot of books that have come out, a lot of like well-known people who have been like, it's a scam, or I don't want to hustle anymore. And I have so much respect for that. Like, if you're someone who is feeling like, I've been killing myself to work, and what for? I need to bring in joy. I need to rest. Like, all of that we 100% agree with. But yeah, just like the idea of women's ambition and how it has changed now, and we have maybe overcorrected, is just so fascinating, because I think the public reception to this happening a few years ago would have been very different than today. I mean, I think you could argue there's oversaturation with her. Even I remember when we were talking about the Eras Tour being done, we were like, good. This has been a long time. I need some space from you. Because I know you also did like a story that were like, I'm very inspired by her ambition. And I very much am as well. I'm very inspired by, like you said, her commitment to excellence and detail. And I think one of the most inspiring things is, a lot of people, the more successful they become, the more sloppy and lazy and uncaring they kind of become. And I think, to your point, it's like, if we're using musical examples, like Beyonce and Taylor Swift are not that. No. Like, their tours have just gotten more incredible. I mean, like, look at Katy Perry. I'm sorry, but like, God, that is such a good example of just like tragic. Someone, like losing the plot and not caring. And I do think there's something inspiring to discipline and wanting to make something great, especially in this era of like AI slop. And have you heard about that band that is an AI band that has been like so popular? They've made like 4 albums or 3 albums in like 6 weeks. People didn't know.
It's horrifying. It's truly horrifying. And it's why when I look at women like Taylor and Beyonce, and there's some up and coming artists too that I very much deeply respect. Another one who I cannot speak highly enough about, her name is Leife.
Okay,
she's
I haven't heard of her.
Jazz.
I do not listen to jazz music.
You need to. It's not I sat in a bar for 2 hours and listened to a band warm up for 2 hours jazz.
It's not like skit scat.
No. It's not Scooby Doo. No. No, it's like modern lyrics, modern concepts, but like these beautiful like instrumentals, and she's played with like orchestras and bands and like all these sort of, like, it's just it's absolutely lovely. Anyway, I really like her. You don't have to, but check her out. And she kind of has a similar background where she didn't approach any record label. She just went out on her own, and she has like honed her craft, and she was a classical musician, like by training. And she's just gone out and like built this insane cult following amongst Gen Z. And she now just had like a worldwide tour that sold out. She's like 24.
Wow.
And I just like, I really admire that type of hustle. And, you know, to link back to what you were saying about, you know, the boss babe era and all that. My thesis for where we were, how, like where we've overcorrected to and where we need to go. And this is the motto in my head that has been framing some of my content lately, as I've kind of been transitioning mentally behind the scenes and like things I want to talk about, things I want to do and all that. What I don't want is I don't want women to have it all. I want them to have what they want.
Yeah. I love that.
I don't want women to any longer feel the pressure that I have to have it all. I have to have the perfect career. I have to be the perfect partner. I have to be the perfect mom. I have to be the perfect friend. I have to be the perfect this, the perfect that, the perfect dog mom, right? Like to take away the pressure of saying I need to be it all. And I want you to have the tools that you need to drop in and decide, what do I want? what of all these parts of my life mean the most to me?
Mm-hmm.
And to allow that fluidity into your decision making and your boundaries and your relationships and your goals and your motivations and your ambitions, and to meet yourself where you're at in the season you're in,
Mm-hmm.
and say, I release the pressure to have it all,
Mm-hmm.
but I am going to hone in on what I want.
Mm.
And learning how to withstand like the discomfort and the pressure that inevitably comes up when you decide to focus in on things,
Mm-hmm.
as opposed to like, the stereotypical, like I have to be spread thin,
Yep.
right? Like I know I'm being successful if I'm spread thin,
Mm-hmm.
and that's just not fair.
Mm-hmm.
And I get it. Like these are very big questions, and it takes
Yeah.
time and it takes effort and it takes change. And yet it's something that I've been applying in my life.
Mm-hmm.
And it's made a big difference mentally, because I find that I am ambitious to the point of paralysis at times.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I have so many things I want to do, and I have so many
Mm-hmm.
things I want to try, and I have so many things I want to like perfect,
Mm-hmm.
that I end up not doing anything.
Mm-hmm.
And I just like think about things like that is
Yeah.
that is something I know about myself.
Yeah.
And so I'm trying to back up and get really clear on
Mm-hmm.
what that actually looks like.
That's good. Do you want to know what mine is?
Yeah, please.
Mine is I just fucking like ruthlessly do everything without a plan.
That's messy consistency. That's what that is.
It is. But sometimes I don't think things through. I commit to things. Like I started my first podcast like during maternity leave.
Well, that was a trauma response. I think.
Probably.
You were grasping at straws.
So like I have to slow myself down, because I will start things and then I get really mad. Like I really value my word and doing what I say I'll do. And then if I can't do it, I like lose my mind and I get really mad. So yeah, that's what I have to like work on, slowing down and like not responding to everything immediately, and like taking out some of the urgency, because I always have this like belief that if I don't do it now, like I'm going to miss my window, I'm going to miss my opportunity. So I'm just going to say yes to doing 45 things at the same time. And I don't know how I'm going to do it, but I'll just figure it out.
Right.
And like, yeah, I a lot of times do, but it's like a miserable experience sometimes.
Right.
Because I have a lot of like fear that the opportunity will like leave and stuff.
Scarcity.
Yep. Yeah, definitely.
We're like the opposite.
I know. That's why we're such a good team, actually, Sam.
We balance.
It's also because I like spiral down all of these holes, and you're very good at high level thinking, and I get like really specific.
She does. I get texts all the time like, "What the fuck is this?" And I'll be like, yes. I agree. And but sometimes I have to check that too, because what I will sometimes feel bad with, and because that's how. You're one of my really good friends, and this is how I like talk to my friends. I sometimes want to check myself to make sure that when I say those things, people don't think I'm trying to like minimize what they are concerned about. And I even think sometimes like in my content, I worry that people think that when I'm like advocating for mindset work or effort or like, taking care of yourself or all those sorts of things, I don't say any of that in a vacuum, right? Like what I've come to learn in my own personal life, and I think in witnessing this disastrous hellscape we're all living through right now, is I think those are the things that matter now more than ever.
Yeah.
And I think why so many people feel so unrooted, so like flailing, overwhelmed, whatever adjective you want to put to that, is because on social media, we receive like an onslaught of 1.5 million voices on any given day. And I think people are very confused, rightfully so, because we're not actually just like shutting off and pausing and thinking like, well, what do I actually care about? Yeah. Yeah. What is actually important to me? What am I actually interested in? And instead it's this insane pull of like, the incessant, like, well, I have to care about everything. Because you have one person yelling at you that you're
Mhm.
not caring about this. You have another person yelling at you that you're not caring about
Mhm.
that. And you do care. Like when you stumble
Mhm.
across these things, you're like, oh my God, I care so much. I don't want to do anything with this. But then you scroll again and you come across this other thing that's
Mhm.
like, oh my God, I care so much. But the
Mhm.
problem is absolutely no human being on earth has the ability to care about everything equally.
Mhm.
That is not, you're not like admitting defeat. You're not
Mhm.
admitting that you are less than the other person that cares more. That's not what's
Mhm.
happening. What's happening is you are frying your nervous system and making it impossible to do anything.
Mhm.
And I know this from experience.
Mhm. Well, I think too, Sam, what's powerful about you saying that, I've been doing some research into stress and things like that. And one thing that's really fascinating is there, and maybe you know this because you worked in a hospital, right? There's a difference between eustress and distress.
Yeah, two different kinds of stress.
Yeah. And like eustress is good stress.
Mhm.
It is stress that it is like, it's friction. It's like
Mhm.
cooking. It's cleaning up something in your house. It's a problem that you can solve.
Or another example that I used, and this is kind of like a big one, but what I would say is like planning a wedding.
Mhm.
It's something that you're really excited for, hopefully,
Yeah.
and looking forward to.
Yeah.
And it's stressful. There's a lot
Yeah.
of big decisions to make.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things to plan, but it's a good thing.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's solvable,
Yes,
right? Like
yeah.
you will, like that is a
Right.
key component of it, is like that you have control and
Right.
agency and can work towards something hard. You can set a goal and make it there.
Right.
And then if you look at what distress is, a lot of times one of the biggest indicators of distress is you can't solve it. It is like an unsolvable abstract problem
Mhm.
that is just wearing away at you day by day. And it makes me think so much of like our lives, how we evolved was filled with lots of eustress and
Yeah.
not tons of distress. Sure,
Yeah.
sometimes like people died, things
Absolutely.
were horrible, you starved, sure.
Famine, plague.
Yeah,
Yes.
right.
Bad times.
Right. But a lot of it was like hunting, gathering, probably
Building a
cleaning things up.
shelter.
Yes, doing simple
Yeah.
things that you were able to do.
Mhm.
And so much of our life now, we can immediately get something delivered to us. We can immediately get food ordered to us. We, can get so many things we want at the drop of a hat. So much friction has been taken out of our life. We don't even have to leave our house to do very many things.
Mhm.
And yet we are more connected to everything going on in the world, all of the crises that we have very little control over.
Yep.
That makes us feel powerless. So it's like in modern life, we have so much more distress and so much less eustress.
Mhm.
And we have such little attention span
Yes.
and like such little tolerance for doing hard things. I think
Ugh.
in sometimes, again, I'm not saying your life isn't hard. Please don't come at me. I'm saying in terms of like, right, our attention spans have gone down so much. We expect so much instant gratification. Even if you look at, Sam and I are in Sharon's book club, and it's funny because someone told me that I'm like really old, but I love Sharon.
Side note, I resent that feedback so bad. If you are under the age of 40, you need to be following Sharon. She is the antidote to all this insanity.
What was I saying? But yeah, we're in Sharon's book club. And I think one of the biggest things when you read a lot of history books, which Sam can speak to much more than me, I'm much more of a weird history book or evolutionary. I really like evolution books. Right? Is how long things took. Like civil rights, slavery, like right, World War I, World War II, like these huge changes took decades. And we're mad, including myself. I'm very impatient that 3% of us protested and nothing has happened.
Right. I absolutely 1000% agree. And it's something that I push a lot. And it's something I am trying to retrain in myself of you're not like the day you plant the seed is not the day you eat the fruit.
Yep.
And I think a lot of people are like screaming at the soil right now, being like, why is there no fruit? And it's like, well, it's taking root. There's a lot happening that you don't see. But you have to keep showing up for your own life. This isn't even just saying like this has to be done at like this massive macro scale. But, if you feel you're at a turning point in your career, if you are really working to repair a relationship or a marriage, or you're in a really tough season with your kids, or, you know, you're in a really hard season in therapy and you're processing a lot of different, like, difficult things. Where you are right now is not an indicator of where you will be forever. I would say this to anybody who was standing in front of me. I think we need to start being more realistic about the vastness of the human experience, and that it is no one's fault. It is no one individual person's fault that you live in one place and someone lives in another. That you are experiencing one thing and someone else is experiencing another. Now, if that person who has experienced this other life comes across your path, what's your value system? Are you going to be kind to them? Are you going to support them? Are you going to try to help them as best you can? Are you going to offer them a safe place? Right? This is why I believe so deeply in something like immigration. I feel like, as someone who is kind of flirting with Christian light, I think right now in my deconstruction journey, I believe firmly that my job is to support and uplift the people who have gone through really, really horrible, horrific things, because that is what I would want from someone else if I went through those things. And this, I'm just throwing out immigration because I think it's the most, like, top of the funnel one. But I think this goes for anything in your life. This goes for anybody that you're interacting with. If you know a little kid in one of your kids' classes is going through a hard time, how can you be helpful? How can you go into your kid's classroom and affect change? If you're single, how can you go to your local school? Do you have financial resources right now that you could pay off some student lunch debt? Could you do that?
Could you clear a teacher list? Can you buy a couple things for a teacher?
Yeah. Can you ask a teacher friend of yours, like, hey, what do you need? Can I give you $100? Can I give you $50? Right? Like, get creative. If you find yourself feeling so low, so hopeless and helpless and overwhelmed and flooded, I promise you there is something that you could do right now that would bring the biggest smile and sense of relief to someone that is in your immediate orbit. Whether it's a friend, whether it's someone in your family, whether it's, you know, that there's a GoFundMe out there that someone is having a really hard time. Like, you could do that and feel good. You don't have to do something really kind and really amazing and then be like, ugh, I'm a piece of shit because that didn't fix the world. Like, be kind to yourself. Be patient with yourself. You offering yourself that space is not saying, oh, I guess I'm let off the hook. I don't have to do anything. But that is about you tapping into an emotional energy that is sustainable for you to continue helping people and showing up for people and being involved in your community, in your family, in your friends' lives the way you want to be. You cannot be in those spaces and hating everything and resentful and miserable the whole time. You will be useless. You will be annoying.
Yeah, that is, like, the other thing, right? Is, like, this extreme nihilism, I think, is causing people to not do anything that can help.
Right.
And even, like, preventing other people from doing things because of, like, the online culture that exists of, like, tearing people down and making fun of people for sharing positive things in their life or sharing a way they helped. It's so sad. I wish it's like we need to bring conscientiousness back.
Absolutely.
And, like, genuine care for people, because you can statistically affect change much more easily on a local level. And we all focus so broad, and we're not involved enough, even in like local politics and things like that. Too. Okay, so if you're listening to this episode and feeling like, oh my gosh, I could actually really use a therapist, we've got you. My practice, Therapy for Women Center, has therapists licensed in 43 states across the country. All the therapists are hired by me, trained by me, handpicked by me, and we really back and support our therapists. We vouch for them, unlike some of these big online therapy platforms. Also, if you're local to the Philadelphia area, we have 3 office locations there. So I would love for you to go to our website, therapyforwomencenter.com, and check it out.
I made a post about this in relation to Taylor, but then I also posted a TikTok kind of about like this insane level of negativity. I regret to inform everyone, and I don't regret it, but I'm saying it because it's how you say it. This obsession with negative critiques, negative takedowns, finger pointing, shaming, saying why someone did that, it wasn't enough, and why someone did this and it wasn't that way it should have been. None of that is getting us anywhere. And it's why we all feel we're trapped in a washing machine of doom and feeling like everything is hopeless. Because absolutely almost no one, some people are. There are some people that are trying to organize for good. A lot of people are wasting their time spewing negativity and anxiety and fear and essentially telling people we're cooked, we're doomed, it's over. That's not helpful.
Well, I do think we need to bring back, this is like one of my life mottos, is we need to care less about who is right and wrong and more about what is helpful and what isn't helpful. Whether this is like not just, you know, politically and things like that or on the internet, but in terms of so often with clients and things like that, we get so what's the right decision? What's the wrong decision? Is this person good? Is this person bad? Is this, you know, right, wrong? We get so caught up in the morality of it. And a lot of times it is really, is this helpful or is this not helpful? Because even if you're right that America is crumbling and there will be no midterms or 2028 election, it's not helpful. And
no.
And that's the issue with the extreme amount of content that exists on the internet and what the algorithms reward. But I don't know. Maybe that's a bad take.
No, I don't think so at all.
As I'm not saying we shouldn't tell the truth.
Right.
At all. I just think we also, like, we need to bring back on the internet, especially with, like, everyone having a take. It's like, is this take helpful? Right? What is that, like, DBT thing of, like, should I say it? Is it helpful? Is it kind?
It meaningful?
Does it need to be said by me?
Yes.
And I do think, Sam, like, we are pretty good because we have a podcast.
Right.
And just like you get lots of people commenting on what you should or shouldn't be commenting on, of like going through that checklist.
I do.
Of being like, is this something that is helpful? Is this something that's going to make a difference? Is it, and does it need to be said? And does it need to be said by me? And there's many conversations where I have a lot of opinions, but I'm like, I am not the right messenger of this message. And it doesn't need to be said by me.
I could not be more obsessed with that framework because I think it was the framework I was using but didn't realize I was using.
Yeah.
I think about that every time I post something. Is this?
Well, even when you're like commenting back people, right? Like a lot of times I don't engage because I'm like, this doesn't need to be said by me. No. You all can go spiral by yourself, right? I have a current post right now about trad wives where people are arguing with themselves in the comments. And I'm like, this is none of my business anymore. No.
Yeah. I put it out there. Feel free.
Yeah. I, answered some stuff, made sure it was clear. Everyone else, not my business.
No, I 10,000% agree. And I think it's when I've jokingly said in the past, like, we need to use inside voices and outside voices.
Yes.
We need to use like, this is my day-to-day voice and this is my internet voice. And those don't always have to be the same. And again, I think awareness is important. We need to know what's happening. We need to be informed. We then take that information and say, how does this apply to my little world? What can I do right now to make a difference with this? And if you are coming up short on that, but you still feel like there's things you need to do, you turn to your community. You turn to your school, you turn to your school board, you turn to your food pantry, you turn to your local community center, you turn to your library, you turn to your friends, you turn to your family. I cannot stress enough that if you are feeling overwhelmed and hopeless by the world, that is what we mean by turning it back to yourself and being a helper. This whole incessant perseveration on why everything is wrong and bad, sure. Yeah. This conversation we're having here is not saying like, things are great, everything's fine. No. Like, Amanda and I are also texting in addition to debating whether songs are about Maddie or Joe in Taylor's discography. We are also talking about the fears we have, the concerns that we have, how we feel overwhelmed, how our clients are afraid. Like, none of this is coming from a place of like we have blinders on. Yet it's also coming from a place of we all need to be realistic about how we are expending our energy, just as Taylor said and alluded to. Are we expending our energy in ways that feel sustainable for the things we want to do? Right? And I have, like, not gonna lie, I have been in a season where I've realized like I think I need to take a break from content consumption.
Yeah.
I've realized
I've been feeling that way too.
I think I need to take a break from consumption. I love creating, but I have found that sometimes the level of negativity has at times almost talked me out of posting. And I sometimes think you have to not care.
I know.
It's hard. It's really hard. And for any of you that are maybe content creators and you've ever been ripped to shreds on the public square, it's not fun. But I don't want to apologize for that anymore because I'm not saying anything mean. Right? And I think sometimes what's happened with me and some of my content is there have been a lot of issues that I've seen or trending things that come up. And I'm just like, this doesn't feel like my arena. I feel like I'm just going to add noise and negativity to this. And then I think of going to something from my content bank that I have. And I'm like, well, nobody wants to hear that because it's going to be uplifting.
Yeah.
And people are going to get mad that I'm gassing someone up.
Do you get that feedback a lot though, Sam? Everything I see that you do is like people being like, I desperately needed to hear this.
Well, that is what I have to go back to.
Yeah.
Is I'm not creating for everyone.
Yeah.
I'm creating for people that want that.
And like, that's another thing. Not only is it like, should this be said? Should this be said by me? It's like, should I watch this?
Yes.
Is this for me? That's the other thing we really need back. Because there's lots of videos that I'm like, I don't agree with this.
Yep.
This is not. But
Same.
it's like, okay, this is not for me. Like, it's,
No.
You don't have to be offended. We need to do a whole episode on
being offended.
well, and like the not about meism.
What about
right?
meism?
What about meism?
Yeah. Well, and I think that's why these three topics that we're kind of like
connecting the three
together.
Sort of random things together.
You all told us you wanted deep dives. So here you go. Okay. We're combining Taylor Swift with messy consistency with finding joy.
And also like ambition.
And ambition. Because you're talking to two of the most like
girlhood.
Then we just need Billie Eilish, What Was I Made For, to start playing in the background. And then that would really like solidify the theme. But regardless, I think when we were like trying to come up with this topic and we kind of landed on a couple of things, what I find really empowering about all of these things for me is that it gives me so much freedom when I realize the options don't have to be black and white. There is so much gray, and there was so much room for me to add the unique circumstances of my life. And what I think people are missing out on is that they get to do the same for them, right? Just because the things that they care about or the work that they do or the things that are important to them are different from this other person, they are no less and no greater. You as an individual person have that makeup, genetic, biologic, social makeup, what have you, because that's what your secret sauce is, right? For me, I have spent years being mad that I wasn't an attorney because I'm a history buff. I love the law, and I kind of like to argue.
She seriously thought about going back to law school not that long ago.
Straight
was
face.
talking to me about
I literally was like, maybe I should. Like, I could have done it.
Mm-hmm.
But I have come to terms with the fact that, no, like, I'm actually really, really good at what I do.
Mm-hmm.
And same thing with, like, my content creation.
Mm-hmm.
I've had to learn, like, I'm not a trends girly.
Mm-hmm.
I don't do those well. I know so many people that are so incredible at it. And I spent years feeling bad about myself that I wasn't good at it. And comparing myself. And I thought, no, that is not my strength. My strength is how I talk. My strength is how I communicate. And so I share that to say, like, you get to do the same. You listening to this get to do the same thing. What matters to you? What makes you happy? What makes you feel fulfilled? What brings you joy? And how can you take those things and try to make somebody else's life better because of those skills that you have?
Yep.
That is how we actually affect real change. And you might never in your life see the outcome of doing that.
But that's such a good point, though, of like, right? Because even when you said that, like, I obviously had, like, you know, disappointment and things like that when you think about the things you care about. And I just think it's such a good point, though, because it's like, we're not affecting change to feel good about ourselves. Like, yes, change can feel good about ourselves, but we should be like, if we truly care about this issue, we have to care about it beyond ourselves.
We have to, one of my favorite quotes lately is, you know, you are sitting under the shade of trees planted by people who knew they would never sit under that shade. I know I just butchered that quote, but that is the gist of the quote. And I think a lot of us have lost sight of that type of longevity.
Because of instant gratification.
And now because of AI. And this idea of legacy. And like, what am I building?
Taylor Swift.
She left us a legacy. Like that. But also think of that insane legacy that she has left. The footprint in each and every single one of her listeners' lives and the impact that she's had. And she'll never fully understand that or grasp that. And it's the same thing for whatever you do. The kind thing that you do for someone, you may never know the impact. It might not have an impact. It might not. Or, you know, the big, bold step that you take to do something different, right? It might take a long time to see the results of that unfold. And that's okay. That doesn't minimize that action or that effort. And if someone is yelling at you, telling you things are hopeless, that is someone that is going through their own thing. You get to remove yourself from that type of discourse if it doesn't feel helpful to you. Maybe sometimes it does. Maybe sometimes it's helpful to take a break and put it all down and be like, yeah, everything sucks. I've done it. But that is a place that you stop and get gas and then leave. That is not a place where you buy real estate.
What I keep thinking about also is it's so interesting, this, like, it's not backlash, because the majority of people, I think, are very, like, supportive of Taylor Swift releasing an album. And obviously brands love when she does this because they just, like, all meme it. And on one level it's cute, but then it becomes so excessive. You're just like, oh my God. But I also think it's just fascinating that this is like and I think you could argue that it's because the Eras Tour was so big. It wasn't that long ago. Then we had Tortured Poets Department, right? Like, there is still the saturation argument. But I also think it's so interesting if you look at the time, like where we were politically when the Eras Tour came out compared to now, and how much more, you know, critical we are of her. And she kind of like, it's not even about her. A lot of times I think she just is this, like, mirror of culture that gives us, like, a temperature of where we are as a culture. Like, there's a lot of critiques to have about Taylor Swift, and we didn't go into them today, but I have quite a few, you know? And I think it is fine and good to critique people constructively. And especially, obviously, if you're listening to this podcast, you know that Sam and I critique people and
Mhm.
culture, and we try to be clear that we're not trying to just attack one person, but we're trying to look at them as a representation of our culture and what it means a lot of times about like our mental health and our state of the world. And at the same time, I think it's a weird critique to be like, I don't like her and I also don't want her to make music or like do her job. You can have all that and it's fine that she's allowed to do her job. We're all doing our jobs. And if your critique is, which I guess is fair, right? If your critique is, I don't want her to release an album because my feed is going to get overtaken by like people being obsessed with Taylor Swift and stuff, like that is a fine critique. It's not really a critique of Taylor Swift, though.
No.
It's a critique of our
social media echo chambers.
Exactly. This conversation wouldn't have existed
right
2 years ago.
No.
It is just so wild to watch it happen again. And like, just watch how the cultural like taste of her changes. It's just so fascinating to me because it's not about her. She is a very earnest,
Yes.
hardworking, try hard, eager, does the most often person, likes what she likes, is unapologetic about it, embraces her cringy past selves. And we sometimes as a culture don't like it, except for 2 years ago when we decided we did like it for some reason. But now we're back to critiquing, you know, people who find joy and do that. And I just think that it goes back to kind of the episode we did about coolness and how it is so much easier to be a critic. It's so much easier to be cool. It's so much easier to not try. And I think some of the nihilism ties into all of this. And I just want to bring back like earnestness and hard work and caring about people. I think it was a service to the fans that she didn't talk about how grueling it was.
Yes.
Until it was over.
Until it was over.
Because as much as I wanted to know everything about it, it's like when I also read the GQ article that Travis was in, and he talked about her being on a computer. Did you read that?
I saw that quote. I haven't read the article yet, but I saw that quote.
He talked about her being on a computer and how it would, if it was 100 degrees, the computer was insanely hot. And I was like, Jesus Christ, I did not think about that at all. Like, imagine her like in Reputation dropping to her knees dramatically. I mean, we also saw like the photos of her almost passing out. Like, you know, and yeah. I think there is something lost and there is a virtue of caring about people, caring about your fans, being prepared, wanting to do a good job. I'm sick of the narrative that it's cool to not care. I just, we need to bring back the caring is cool.
I completely agree. And as someone that does deeply care, I think that's something I'm allowing to like wake back up in myself. But understand that, yeah, sometimes you do need boundaries around that. You do need boundaries around how much you care. You
and even like
do.
ambition. I know you kind of did a thing about that too. Like, I think this does tie a little bit to some of the anti-ambition content for women and things like that. Like, it is, I don't know. I'm obviously very ambitious and things like that. And, you know, there was a lot of books I read over the past couple years of sort of like when all of your self-worth comes to from your ambition, it's sad. And we need to stop, we need to cut out hustle culture and things like that, which some of it, to be fair, sure. I've really had to learn what the difference is between me caring about something I genuinely care about and caring about something that's frivolous that isn't my business to care about. And I am very inspired by Taylor Swift because there have been moments in my life where I have wanted to quit. I have felt like things are too much. I felt like I don't have the personality to be someone who is successful or has a business or is more public facing. And I am very inspired by her and what she said in the podcast and the Time interview. And it is okay to be inspired by someone, even if it's frivolous. But yeah, I think I just bring that up because I like what you said, Sam, about you don't have to have it all. I don't want you to go be ambitious for the wrong reasons. Obviously, we're not saying, go be a boss babe, hustle culture.
Right.
But like, I do think I went through a little bit of a period of time of being like, my ambition is bad. It means that I'm not happy. It means that there's something wrong. And I'm ambitious because I also like I love this podcast. This is so fun. We've been talking for like over an hour and this has felt like a minute. Like,
I know.
My daughter interrupted us and was crying. And there was a moment where I was like, I don't know if I'm going to go, but because I'm too distracted. But like, I love this. I'm lit up by this. I love my work. I love being able to research random things. Like, I love being able to talk to people on the internet and connect with them. I love being able to help people decide whether they want to have kids. I love having a business where I know that it's not just me helping someone, but I get other people to help people. It's so interesting how the culture around ambition, and specifically women, because this has not really been something that's happened with men, where we've had a culture of like, you should stop being ambitious, you should work harder. And I am very inspired by Taylor Swift because of her unapologetic ambition that you can tell, especially in this interview. Not saying she hasn't been rooted by fear and anxiety, because absolutely it has, but it is also okay. And I was inspired when they were talking about what her moment was where she feel like she made it, or it was a big deal. And she said, on the Eras tour, it was just so cool to feel like I did this.
Yep.
And this was my production. And I wanted to, the way she talked about wanting to challenge herself for the sake of, can I do it?
Yeah. Yeah.
And that is okay to want to do too.
Yes.
Like, it's okay to want to be like, what are my limits? What am I capable of? And that doesn't always mean that it's unhealthy either.
I appreciate so much that you brought all that up, because I think what we're also forgetting too is that it is possible to be incredibly humble while also being incredibly ambitious. And that everything that you just said, Amanda, was a descriptor of yourself. And you weren't saying, because I do these things or have these things or feel these things, I'm better than anybody else. This is just what I've realized I am as a person, how I am put together. And I think for women, what is so frustrating to me about ambition, and I think what feels so particularly sinister about, in a lot of ways, the boss babe culture, but even more so about the trad wife culture, is that women are always told that wanting is bad. That wanting or striving or desiring means we are not happy with how it is now.
Yeah.
In any direction, whether as a single person you want a partner. I had a conversation with a client yesterday where she's like, am I bad for wanting a partner?
Yeah.
No. You get to want companionship. You get to want to be with someone. I want it. I keep wanting to say Tavis. They're not one person. When I was watching Travis and Taylor, and he kept like complimenting her, but like quietly. And like when she would say like quote unquote big words, she said esoteric. And he goes, it's so hot when she says big words.
I rewinded that a few times and I tried to turn on captions at that point because I was like, did he really call her hot?
Yeah, he did. And with the way he was like hugging her, like album and all this stuff. And I sat there and I was like, God, maybe it is possible for me too. Like maybe one day I'll get to have that too. And I know that she thought for so long that wasn't possible for her. And so to want something is an inherently human thing. To want something is what gives you the drive to get out of bed in the morning.
And it's also vulnerable.
Yes.
And that's why people pretend like they don't want things. And they pretend to be too cool. Because then if you don't get it, you have to, it's vulnerable to put yourself out there.
Right. And also, I hate to inform you, like if you got out of bed this morning, you had ambition. You can be ambitious in any arena where you decide you want to have a goal. And I want to kind of like reclaim that for women and this understanding of like, you get to be ambitious in your home. If you really care about your home and you feel like you're just in the throes of like the parenting season, you get to be ambitious about that with boundaries,
Mm-hmm.
right? As anything, with boundaries and with perspective. And allowing yourself room to have low moments, allowing yourself moments where you can reflect and check in and make sure that it's still aligning with who you are and what you want.
I love when you talked about that, because we talked, I think, a couple weeks ago about just like, you know, your experience abroad and loneliness and all of that. And I said to you a couple times, like, you're so much better than me at taking care of yourself, taking care of your space. And that conversation has stuck with me so much. And it's like so dumb, but like I could cry about this. Like, I've been making my bed in the morning.
I'm so proud of you.
But I'm like not doing it because I should or any of that. But it's been like this. I guess I've had it that like it's stupid to like care about how my space looks, or it's stupid to waste the time doing certain things because I'm so busy. It's a waste of time. I don't have the time to. That's been like my whole motto for like many years.
Right.
And the way that I like to make my bed is like takes like a long time, and it's like ridiculous, sort of. Not ridiculous to most people, but to the person that never makes my bed, right? Like you would be like, maybe you should just start with just like, you know, pulling up the covers and throwing some pillows on, not you know, not like tucking the sheet and all of that stuff. But like it makes me happy, and I've just been doing that because I'm just like, I like this. It's fun. Who cares? And it like really makes my day better.
It does. It to put in effort gives something meaning.
Woo!
Truly. I've found that in my life. When I put effort into things, it means something to me. It matters to me. It makes a difference to my life and my well-being and my mental health. And part of the problem is like effort is not cool. Like you feel like a dweeb when you're wrestling with your sheets, you know? And I'm short, so I can't even like reach all the way across the bed. So I have to like ping, 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 ping. Like I have to like ping pong back and forth around the bed if we're talking about something as frivolous as like making the bed. But I find that when I put effort into myself and my life, I feel better. When I choose to honor the things that I want and the things that are important to me, and notice what I said, the things that I want.
Yeah.
Not projections of what I should or I shouldn't, right? Not me being concerned of what other people think I should want or should be doing, but what I want. And I've taken the time to be like self-reflective of that. And I really, really want to create and build content and systems where women can find a haven to feel that way and to receive like inspiration around how they can craft that for their life, how they can straddle those two worlds of honoring their desires and their hopes and their dreams while living aligned and not putting energy where they don't want to put it. And making choices that make them happy. Because I will say, you know, Glennon Doyle is someone who I also have a couple of critiques of. But in her book, Untamed, when she said, what is best for you will always be best for your people. I found when I started living from that principle, my life truly changed in some ways. Not always like immediately noticeable night and day shifts, but it was that mindset that gave me the motivation to pick up my life and move. It was that mindset that made me realize I wasn't cut out for, you know, just like an average job. There's nothing wrong with that. There's plenty of people that are thrilled to have that, and they're good, and we need them. And I wasn't built to be in a corporate setting. Right? And so I just want people to finally feel empowered to recognize that their effort, their care, their wants, their needs matter. And simply because someone else on the internet disagrees or sees things differently or feels differently does not negate what you want. And the same in the reverse.
Absolutely. But I do think there's something very powerful about she's reclaiming her sexuality.
Yes.
I think in a way with this album, she being someone who was very clear about not giving someone permission to look at her body. She almost didn't give people permission to sexualize her, which was a very big deal in the early aughts and sort of the downfall of quite a few pop stars because they were over sexualized. And she felt like she couldn't, do that. And to see her reclaiming it sort of on her terms, reclaiming her work on her terms, it's really cool and empowering to see. All right, we hope you enjoyed this long, windy journey. We covered a lot of ground, and at a little bit, I was like, I don't even know if we're gonna get to any of the other things we talked about, but we did.
Yeah, we did. We landed the plane.
So let us know if you disagree and you didn't think that we landed the plane.
Yeah,
but
we're fine. We can take it.
We love you. We love your comments. And thanks so much for supporting the show.
Yeah, we appreciate it. As per usual, anything that you can do to share, rate, review, subscribe about the show would be life-changing for us. And we'll see you next week.
Bye.
Bye.